Make Wing Chun more effective. There's a big difference between you drilling, you practicing, you talking about theory, and you actually applying the technique. In Applied Wing Chun, that's what we do. We always emphasize on the practicality of the Wing Chun techniques. So let me talk first about the guard and the stance. So the Ijikim Ma stance, this one here, the basic stance is that. It's just a basic stance. Same with the guard. We have our traditional guard. Now, for the most part, Wing Chun people worldwide think that there's only that guard and that's it. Where really, the guard is meant to use strategically with whoever you're dealing with. So if I'm dealing with someone who's a good kicker, chances are I'm not going to hold my hands, say, too high close to my face because I know he could easily reach my ribs with his kicks. Same if I'm dealing with a puncher. I'm not going to be holding like a low traditional guard like this if I know he's a good boxer, a good puncher. So I need to use my hands strategically. Same with the stance. The stance, sometimes when I see Wing Chun people online demonstrating their techniques, it's almost like as if they have their legs tied up together and they just walk around, you know, like you look at that and you say to yourself, have you ever been in a fight? Because chances are the way you're walking, you haven't. So what you want to do is make sure that your stance together with your guard support the technique you're going to be working against and the techniques that you want to start to apply, to work on yourself. So from there, let's say we work on the thrusting punch, the Yachi Chung Choi. Now, if I'm punching, I've got several targets on my opponent's body where I can connect this punch. Of course, the primary target would be the face, then secondary, the solar plexus, and then if he spins and he turns a bit, the floating ribs. How am I going to reach those targets if I don't know how to use my stance? If I don't have my hands strategically placed? That's why many times you'll see Wing Chun people lose fights in seconds because, again, the people that taught them don't know the difference between theory and application. Most of the times they talk about Wing Chun techniques over a cup of tea instead of trying it out, putting some gloves on and try to, punch each other's face and see which technique is working and which one isn't. So now, if I have my stance in a ready position and I've got my guard in a way where I can set up my hands because I want him to come at me with punches towards my upper body, so then I can use my paksa and I can use my punch strategically. So then if he's punching, boom, I can connect my thrusting punch with no problems. And then because of my stance, I can push my stance forward and reach him easily, right? If he's punching, I can sidestep and then I can go towards the ribs with no problems either, because when I am sidestepping, I'm moving away from him and I can easily reach the floating ribs. Okay, if he's coming at me with a hook, I can then just thrust and cover and apply that thrusting punch again easily. So what you're meant to be doing is dealing with all these different attacks from different angles and see if you can support your punch, your thrusting punch with your stance. So if he launches a jab, I can go in. He launches a hook, I can intercept. He launches another jab and then I can sidestep and move out of the way and still reach the floating ribs. Now, having said that, once you learn to connect and you see that the timing, the distance and the rhythm of your technique is working quite well to your advantage, then see if you pack any power in your punch. Because once you hit someone who is, let's say, heavier than you, you'll see immediately if your wrist is collapsing when you make contact. Okay, so you need to make sure that when you punch, you're punching with power. That's why one big no-no is to punch with your hands being open and then just clenching them just as you punch. You don't want to do that because you build bad habits. If he walks into you and you go halfway with your hands not fully clenched, you'll break your fingers, you'll break your hand. Okay? I don't know any boxer that will punch with open hands and just clench their fist just before they hit the target. You don't want to have them completely, locked and tight and hard, because then you're just wasting energy, but you do want to have them clenched. So then if he is attacking with a jab, let's say, I want to make sure that I'm connecting that punch with no problems. So supporting it by the horse. Now with the kicks, same thing. When I say Wing Chun people, I just see people just raising the leg, but not really committing to an attack and not really thinking that the other person's coming at you. This person's not just waiting there. This person's trying to knock you out, take you down, or do all sorts of different attacks on you. So if you just raise your leg and he's coming at me, I'm going to lose balance. It's just going to happen. So then when you're kicking, you're meant to push your hips forward, right? In Wing Chun, there is such a thing as a seesaw principle, right? So then if I'm shooting my lower body, I need to counterbalance by drawing my upper body back. Two reasons. One, I can generate more power like that. And two, I'm getting away from his attack, from his punch. He's punching, boom, I'm here. So when I'm kicking, I'm really thrusting that heel into the floating ribs. And as I do that, his arm won't be longer than my leg, so he won't reach my face. I'm generating a lot of power, and then once I do that, then I can follow up easily. I can kick, I can punch. Any follow-up I choose, it's available for me to do that, right? So I'm managing the distance. He's punching, but then I'm kicking. And as I do that, I still want to have my guarding hand protecting my face. So then if he decides to kick, same thing. I'm covering, boom, and then I'm counterattacking with my opposite leg. So here, I can easily follow up using my kick and thrusting. Which part of the foot am I using? The heel. Now, then, to wrap it up, let's say I don't want to wait. I want to make my move. So I will go in with a sole gurk. But because I don't want him to stop my kick, I'll distract him. Right? I'll distract, boom, then I'll go here, then I can follow up with my lead leg. So boom, here, boom, and there. Now, right now, we're just drilling for the sake of this video. I'm going nice and easy, but if you really want to commit, then of course you use all your body and then commit to that sole gurk and then to the tongue gurk, okay? So this video is just meant for you to basically just think about how you're training, how you're applying, or if you aren't applying your techniques, to see which one works. The best way for you to do this is with a training partner. Friendly, just trying to test your skills, pressure test your knowledge, and then you'll see what's working and what's not. Okay guys, so if you haven't checked my previous video from last week, I'll post a card up here, and make sure you go to my online university and grab my free Wing Chun course to take your Wing Chun to the next level. Thanks so much guys, I'll see you in the next one.